first. Damn. Okay. Okay. Let's see if I can do it anyway. Sorry, guys. I got some mariachi type music going in the background over there. It's not me. It's the neighbors building their house. How's everybody been, man? I haven't been on here for a while. Sorry if the view is weird. I'm in a weird situation right now. Yeah. Anyways, I'll explain in a minute. Let me get my blunt rolled. It's been a while since I've jumped on here, so we will see. We'll see how this goes. We'll see if anybody jumps into this live stream or not. Maybe you guys all forgot about me. Who knows, right? It's a risk you take when you don't upload videos for a long time. But got a lot going on, and simultaneously not a lot, which I'll also have to explain a little bit. While we try to wait and let the room load up with viewers, I'm going to finish rolling my blunt here. Somebody's just jamming out there. I don't know what it is, but they're feeling it. They got it slapping. Oh, Lord. I'm sorry, the quality might not be the best on this camera. Usually I use my other phone, which has a better camera, when I do these live streams, but it is kind of impulsive. I just got a minute. I want to smoke a blunt. I figured I'd hop on here and talk to some people. It's been a while. I got some things to talk about, you know. See if I can get this blunt to work. Smoking some mid. Oh, and I forgot to turn my shit off. Damn. That's alright. What's going on? We got somebody in here. Alright. It's not completely dead, huh? Patch this little blunt. I got a blow out here. You smoking on something? Alright, we're gonna talk. This channel's gonna talk about some shit. We're gonna get into the weird. I mean, just let's be make it clear up front. This is not religious stuff I'm talking about, and I'll explain that as well. In fact, the Bible itself isn't even religious, if we want to get technical. But there's a reason why I've been talking about biblical shit lately, and not just, hey, this is what you should know about psychedelics. Because this channel was originally all about smoking weed and taking psychedelics, and my goal was just to educate people on psychedelics and weed and the culture and the lifestyle and all that stuff. But then, of course, naturally, I did a whole bunch of psychedelics, and it changed my perspective on life. And in that process, oh man, I got to turn off these notifications. In that process of doing all these psychedelics, how can I turn these off right now? Let me see. Boom. Sorry, guys. Let me just turn these notifications off so nobody's... There we go. Notification volume off. Done. Boom. So in the process, obviously, taking a bunch of psychedelics and, you know, being in the lifestyle of cannabis growers and, you know, dispensary owners and hemp farms and fucking hash makers and everything else, you know, you get real irie all the time, and you take a lot of psychedelics, eat a lot of mushrooms, drop a lot of acid, and it's just part of the lifestyle, you know. And in doing that, you know, people do it kind of for fun, but every once in a while, somebody will have an experience that changes their whole fucking life, you know. And man, a bunch of weed fell out of this. It's all right. I'm almost ready. Once I get this done, I'm gonna fire it up and we'll get this conversation going. But you know, once you do a bunch of psychedelics, it's hard to keep the same perspective on life that you had before you were doing all the psychedelics. It changes everything. Everything, and people take it different ways, right? The psychedelics don't change, but the way that people handle them changes, right? Some people have education and come from a background where they were not taught to fear psychedelics, really, and then other people were taught to fear psychedelics and never knew anything about them, but just did them because they're curious. There's other people that just stumble into it, you know, and they're the right place, the right time, and somebody's got something good for them, and voila. But that's just not how it goes, you know. No, Twan. Uh-uh. Okay, so I'm right there, but remember the rules. I said no coming in right now because I'm going to smoke a blunt. Okay, just set them on the floor right there. So, let me go ahead and give you guys a breakdown. Because you're probably wondering where the fuck is he sitting at and why, what is going on. Alright, so, first up, I live in a tent. Live chat. I'm going to turn all the chat on. What's good, Drift Craze? Sorry, I didn't see your comment there. What's good, what's good? First off, I live in a tent. Not because I'm homeless or something and fucking don't have anywhere to go. But because we live in Hawaii on raw property and we are slowly but surely trying to build a off-grid, self-sustainable farm and home, which we're trying to do from all recycled or repurposed goods, and that takes a while. And so it's been fucking crazy experience. I mean, it's basically like being homeless. We're living in a fucking Costco tent for the last year, and so that's crazy. I never thought I'd be doing that in a million fucking years, but here I am. And so, since I have all this time on my hands, and nothing better to do, we don't have a bunch of electricity or anything. I'm running off like one solar panel. Um, I read a lot and I study a lot on my phone, and I collect books with my wife. And so I've got books all around me, everywhere. Books, 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 books. And as you guys have been watching me for a while know, I've been fucking doing. Jesus, how loud are they gonna turn the music? I've been doing psychedelics real heavy for a long ass time, right? And I took a break when I moved out here, not because I couldn't handle anymore, because I needed to clear my mind or anything, but because there's just not really any good psychedelics out here, hardly. There is in some places, but there's not a lot. And right now, my focus isn't on. Damn. All right, I'm just gonna fire this off. This is such shitty weed; it's really hard to roll up. But... All right, so here we go. Should we get into the meat of this fucking barbecue? Huh? Still got my cowboy glass pendant. I still got a bunch of glass and shit. Twan, off the porch, please. Twan, we're gonna have cinnamon rolls in a little bit, but if you keep bothering me while I'm doing a live stream, it's gonna take you longer. I told you the rules. Papa wants to smoke a blunt. You can't be around me while I'm doing that, so you need to go play. And I don't want to hear you, or we're not gonna have the cinnamon roll. You're gonna have to wait till lunch. All right, so here's the deal. It's just me and my little man's right now, and obviously he can't be in here while I'm smoking. I don't care if it's a tent or not, and I'm pro cannabis. Even fucking like cannabis patients, as they like to call them. Cannabis is medicine. There's no age that makes it not a medicine. The point is, smoking cannabis is different than consuming edible cannabis and yada yada yada. Now, I would never give my kid cannabis, not until he is a grown man and can make decisions himself, because it's not my right to subject him to different conscious experiences as an adult, right, or as a parent. And I can't stand it when people do shit like that. So smoking weed around your kid all the time is just not something I'm cool with. But I do understand that we need to smoke a ganja, and that it's hard being a parent. So my son goes and plays outside. I live in Hawaii. The weather's nice all the time. I send him outside to play while I roll my blunts. And I really wish this was... There we go. That's a little better. And so, here's the deal. Most of you guys know my story in terms of how I got into psychedelics and all that. I did a bunch of DMT, LSD, mushrooms, yada yada, for years on end, until I had some crazy breakthroughs, and I experienced death, and I met a bunch of deities, and I was given guidance and knowledge from the Akashic records, the Akashic field, and all these other things, right? Whatever you want to call it. But the journey started with Hinduism, right? First Hinduism, because that's the first thing I was told when by the other side, not by people, but when I was in death experience. I came out of that death experience from DMT. During that experience, I was told Hinduism, yoga, meditation, go learn it. And so I did, and I realized that yoga is just maintenance and preparation for the temple, the body, right? You want to maintain the body correctly so that you can ascend, right? So that you can transcend the body, right, into the conscious realm, the ethereal realm, right? And so then I learned yoga was, that's basically the gist of yoga, right? Is to prep the temple for the process of transcendental work, right? Or transcending the body. And then meditation is the act of transcending the body through endogenous dimethyltryptamine release. This took me a while to figure out, but eventually I did. I figured it out. And so there's different forms of yoga, and if you want to learn about them, don't go to some fucking dipshit fucking chick that's doing yoga for whatever reason, trying as her job or whatever is a trend, but she's never studied the fucking Vedas. If you're learning yoga from somebody and they have not studied the Vedas, then you should not be learning yoga from that person. That's all I can really say on that. And so then studied up on Soma, right? And the Ojas and stuff of that nature. If you guys don't know what it is, just Google it. And Soma is the elixir of gods in Hinduism, right? But then, naturally, I started finding it in other places. So, sorry guys, I'm trying to adjust this a little bit. Naturally, I started finding places, and damn, this is so hard to get right. And I found it in damn. Sorry guys, this is like brutal trying to make this even. All I want to do is make it even. I can't get it right. Alright, I'm just gonna hold this shit. Alright. You guys see my tent behind me. Tape. We've survived 2 hurricanes so far in this fucking thing. So anyways, started learning about Soma and Ojas and yada yada yada, all these things. And realizing that DMT was the main ingredient in Soma wine. And then I realized that Soma is also the name of the elixir in ancient Egypt, which was ancient Kemet, right? I wish this thing wasn't right in my fucking face. And so, I do all this shit, figure all these things out, and only to figure out this. Right. I just gotta sit this down again, this is killing me. But I gotta go study the fucking Bible again. Right? Which I didn't want to do. That was like the biggest thing I didn't want to do. Alright. It's a little better. Unbelievable. It's just too close. Alright, so I had to go study the Bible again eventually. I went through Hinduism, Buddhism, I went through Taoism and Zoroastrianism, and I studied Egyptian mythology and Mayan oral traditions and the Popol Vuh and all this shit. And I studied them all. And the only reason I studied them is because I was trying to get explanations for the psychedelic experience that people have on DMT, because mine was so powerful and so overwhelming that I couldn't deny that I felt like, I didn't just feel like, I met God, and I couldn't explain it. I didn't have a way to explain it to people. And at that point, I didn't believe in a God until that happened. And so it fucked me up. And so nobody could explain anything to me. I studied all your favorite fucking psychedelic guys, Peter McKinnon and Terrence McKenna or whatever, and fucking all down the line. There's a bunch of them. And so nobody had the answer I was looking for. I read the DMT book by Rick Strassman, and then I read most of his other book, the DMT and the Soul Prophecy, which got me thinking about the Bible, because he's comparing it to the Old Testament of the Bible and all the visions that the prophets would see or whatever, right? And I was like, okay, it's interesting, but I really don't want to go there. So I kept studying, and then one day I came across the word shittim, because I was looking at different. I was just looking to see if there's psychedelics in the Bible. I come across the word shittim, Shittim, and I've been studying etymology a lot, and I've been studying. Let me explain. So I'm studying petroglyphs at one point, right? Because I'm trying to understand certain symbols that I keep fighting, because I got led to the story of the eagle and the serpent. I don't know if you guys know about that, but the Mayans or the Aztecs, people had a story of the eagle and the serpent, and then there's also a story called the think it's the Hymns to Atana or something like that. Story about the eagle and serpent, which just clicked something else I need to look at. And then I started reading about the battle of the eagle and the serpent and watching videos about it by like Matthew LaCroix and other guys that are on Gaia and these stations and whatever, right? And I usually take all of it with a grain of salt, but the thing that kept ringing out is that these are written down, 4,000 plus years ago. And that's a long time. It's 2,000 years before the Bible, right? And the similarities between these stories and the Bible's stories are like uncanny. And so then I kept finding these stories in all the other things I was reading, like the Mahabharata and shit like that. And then I find, the connection between um, certain people I'm reading about, their names, right? And certain symbols, like the symbol of Nibiru and stuff like that, and the sun symbols, and how people kind of confuse the two. And I'm going through them. Eventually, it leads me out here to the Polynesian Islands, where I'm studying Dahuti, who is thought the Atlantean from Egypt. And I find that his name is out here in Polynesia, right? And he goes by Dahuti or Tahuti, and this led to Tafiti, right? Or on the Easter Island, I found there's a mountain named Mana Tea Tea, right? And Tahuti Tea wound up being a short name or another epithet or whatever for Tahuti was Tea or Ta'u. And so anyways, long story short, I'm real interested in this, and I find out that this language, Oleo and all these other Polynesian languages are dialects of what's known as Paleo-Hebrew. I'm sorry I'm just jumping around, but hopefully you guys still follow me. They're dialects of Paleo-Hebrew. Well, where else do you hear about the language of Paleo-Hebrew? In the Bible. The Bible was originally written in Hebrew.
I'm going to pet the goats.
Go pet the goat then, but don't go by the windows. And so, like, wait a minute. So the Bible's written by Hebrews, right? And these people out here in Polynesia are speaking Paleo-Hebrew, right? So now you got my attention, right? Now I'm fucking paying attention. There's something going on here, right? And I started looking at the symbology, and I noticed in the petroglyphs that there's a lot of the same symbols that you would find in ancient Sumeria and Egypt and other places. But I'm finding them in the petroglyphs in Hawaii, because I go there. And so I'm like, what the fuck is going on, And the more I study, the more I realize that I had already read the Bible when I was a kid, but I forgot most of it, and I didn't really care because I was locked up. I was in juvenile hall, and I just didn't really care too much. I was just trying to find some comfort, And anyway, I remember the 12 tribes of Israel, the lost tribes or whatever, right? 10 of them were lost or something, right? And so I'm like, let me look into this a little bit. And naturally, you start typing in anything Hebrew on YouTube, you're going to find the Hebrew Israelites, right? Which is a movement that's happening around the U.S. right now, around the world, really. And I was like, oh, what are these guys doing? Fucking preaching Bible and shit, So I'm looking it up. And there's one of them does a video where he encounters some Tongan girls or Samoan girls. I can't remember. And he pulls up the alphabet or the numbers or something. I forget. I think it was the alphabet or something. He pulls up in Paleo Hebrew. And these girls, having never read the Bible before in Hebrew, only speaking English and their own indigenous language, could read it. No problem. They could read it. Read the fucking Paleo Hebrew from the Bible. And I was like, wait a minute, right? And so their claim was that they're part of the lost tribes of Israel, and this kept going around. And I'm thinking about the connection to psychedelics with the Bible and the fact that I keep finding this word shittum, and so I start studying the Hebrew, and I start studying the Bible, and I start trying to study the etymology behind it and the history and the connections to the Sumerian tablets, Akkadian tablets, and all the cuneiform writings, and then the connections to Egypt, right? Because remember, the Israelites were enslaved in Egypt. That's what the book of Exodus was about, when Moses said, let my people go, and all that, right? And so all these things from when I'm a kid, and my granny used to take me to church and shit, started coming back to me. And when I read the Bible when I was locked up, and I can't help but see all these connections. So I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, there's no way, because I'm not into this Christian religion shit or nothing. Well, then I find out, well, it was never Christian. It was just documentation by a group of people about what was going on and their bloodline, right? And I'm checking this documentation in their bloodline and everything, and I find out, Moses' staff was made of shittim, and the Ark of the Covenant was made of shittim, and The tabernacle made of shittim, right? All these things, the burning bush was shittim, right? And all these things are very significant in the Bible, but they're also acacia. It's acacia. Well, us in the psychedelic world know acacia is good for a lot of things, but one thing more than anything other, and that is the extraction of dimethyltryptamine. And so you look at all these visions and all these things, and anyone that smoked a lot of DMT, had ayahuasca ceremonies or anything like that, in heavy doses, will know the similarities are too uncanny. Something was going on. So I started tracking the 12 tribes of Israel and using the Bible and studying up. And I even watched a bunch of Sakari videos and IUIC and all them dudes. And a lot of them were very knowledgeable on the Hebrew literature, right? The Bible itself, but not the Sumerian stuff, it didn't seem like. And I have a lot of knowledge in that, but I was still learning on the Hebrew stuff. And I know about the Mayans and everybody else. And, well, it turns out that colonization of America was the hunting down, enslaving of and oppression of the 12 tribes of Israel. And it's not just my opinion. I literally was able to study this over a long time and figure it out. And holy shit, these guys were claiming that in these videos, and I wasn't sure if it was true or not, so I had to do my own research. And it is true. It is fucking true, but there's more to it, one of the things they did everywhere is they made the sacraments of these people illegal. Well, all these people, that they colonized were all using psychedelics. All of them. They're all using psychedelics, right? And so, the only reason all of us know about ayahuasca is because my wife's own ancestors, who are the Aba people of Paraguay, right, known as the Paraguayans or the Guanani, right, they brought us ayahuasca. They're the people that brought us ayahuasca. And the Mayans and a bunch of other tribes were considered the protectors of the ayahuasca. But my wife's ancestors brought us ayahuasca. And so now I've got so many coincidences and connections, I couldn't turn around and not look at it. So I've been obsessed with it for a long time. Quiet, Twan. You're being really loud. Yeah, I know, but you're not supposed to be on the porch right there. You're being real loud. And so I'm trying to figure all this stuff out, and while I was doing it, I kept smoking DMT and taking LSD and mushrooms and everything. And then I found in the Exodus, when they're wandering or whatever, they had to eat manna, for a long time. I forget how long. I think it's 40 days or something. They had to eat manna, nothing but manna. And the description of how manna grows is identical to the description of mushrooms. They grow right out here in my fucking yard. In my mulch pile, in my compost piles and shit. And so I'm like, I'm losing my mind, bro. Like, all these connections are too obvious. And long story short, I decided I'm going to start teaching people, because I realized who I am. Everyone's always just called me black, I'm a nigga, bro. Like, everywhere I go, I'm just a nigga, bro. I'm light-skinned nigga, right? And I never knew where that word come from. Everybody always just told me, oh, it's the Latin negro, right? Is where it comes from. But that's not true either. Latin's not the first language, so what was it before Latin, right? Something in Greek, probably, right? And then before Greek, what was it? Well, some in Hebrew. It was nigger. Nigger. You guys are probably like, nigger. Yeah, my dad's black, right? My mom's white. And so according to the Bible, right, the Hebrews would track their pedigree. When I say Bible, you should know what the Bible is. The Bible is just a bunch of an English translation. There's Greek translations and Latin translations and all these different translations of the Bible. But the Bible itself is just a collection of Hebrew scrolls, right? Hebrew scrolls that are written in Paleo Hebrew by the Hebrew Israelites, right? And the Hebrews that came before the Israelites. And that's all it is, right? And so the Hebrew Israelites documented their bloodline, right, which is called the Table of Nations in the Bible. And they documented the prophecies, the laws and commandments and the covenant and the promises of God and yada yada, right? Everybody calls him Yahweh. It's Yahweh, right? In the Paleo Hebrew tongue, it's Yahweh, right? And when you start learning all this shit, and I haven't got no comments on here, I'm just realizing. I don't think. I don't want. My bad. I'm just yapping. I hadn't checked, but it's Yahweh, right? And so I'm going through all this stuff, and I realize the whole Bible isn't even religious at all. There's nothing religious about the Bible at all. Not a damn thing. It was actually hijacked by religion All it really is a cultural-based history book that also contains guide to life, which are the laws, covenants, stuff like that, and prophecies, right? And it is knowledge apparently passed down from the Creator, the God of the Hebrew Israelites, to the Hebrew Israelites, and it tracks this bloodline, right? And this book has like ruled the whole world for so long, and nobody really takes time to read it. And so I bust the shit back out and been reading again and studying as I go. You get the Strong's Concordance Dictionary, so you can study the Hebrew, and then I pull out, like Lost Book of Inky and all of Zachariah Sitchin's work, so I have quick reference to cuneiform tablets, and then I've got a bunch of other. Dude, I've got so many books, it's retarded, and so I've got all these old books. I got books from the early 1800s and all kinds of shit, and old Bibles and different versions and everything, so I can compare the literature and see the difference in translations and everything. And lo and behold, the Bible is about this group of people called the Hebrew Israelites and their bloodline descendancy from the Anunnaki, Yahweh, who is in Mesopotamia and Sumerian stuff known as Enki or Ea, right? Ea, and he is an Anunnaki royalty, the firstborn son of Anu, right? The great father of the Anunnaki, right? And his brother is Enlil, right? The second-born son. The difference between them is that Enki, the firstborn son, Yahweh, right? He is not of the wife of Anu, and Enlil is of the wife of Anu. So even though he was second-born, according to their rulings, Enlil inherited the heirship, right? And so Enlil is marked by the eagle, which is the symbol of Esau in the Bible, in Edom and Idumea and Edomites and stuff. And the serpent is most people associate it with the English translations from the Garden of Eden as being a bad thing, right? But the serpent is actually Enki, and he provided knowledge to humanity, and he's actually the creator of humanity, Yahweh, right? Most people look in the English translations of the Bible, you get God, Lord, Lord thy God, I am, and these different words. They translate to like El Shaddai, Yahweh, Elohim, things of that nature, right? Well, in Hebrew, if you translate those into the other ones, you'll find out there's 7 names, and those 7 names represent the 7 spirits of God. And the 7 spirits of God are the 7 Anuna who came to earth, known as the Anunnaki or Anunnagi, right? Anunnagi, which is where we get Nagi, which led to Niger. Niger is Niger, Nigeria, Gusa, Negusa, Nagini, what else? Nomo, Namu, Nawa. All these names are serpent-rooted. If you study etymology, they're serpent-rooted words that come from the Anunnaki, if that makes sense, right? And so, Na and Gi are 2 different things, but it basically means knowledge, right? And light. Gnosis and light, right? Gnosis means light or knowledge, right? That's where we get the word knowledge from. So anyway, the reason I bring all this up is because I started putting it together, I realized the Bible wasn't some mystical book these Bible thumping religious people are on, and that most of them don't even understand it, and the Bible itself even says they wouldn't be able to. That only people would be able to understand are the bloodline descendants of the 12 tribes. Well, I was able to track my own based off of history and the prophecies and the bloodline descendancies, and throughout from the diaspora, right, of the Israelites, and I trace myself back to the bloodline of the tribe of Judah, right? Hey, you're welcome, Dylan. I appreciate that, man. Appreciate that a lot. I catch a lot of, ridicule for saying this shit. Nope, not yet. I'm not done yet. Not done. Twan, I know if I gave you a cinnamon roll, you'd stop asking, but you're not getting a cinnamon roll until you do what you're told, which is to follow the rules. You cannot come in here while I'm smoking. Yes, that's the way it works. And if you're good, we'll have a cinnamon roll right after. He's 4, man. He's a at that age. Stubborn now. But anyways, so yeah, I catch a lot of ridicule, and a lot of hatred from people that are very solid in their belief systems, but not in their knowledge or in understanding, right? And so my goal is to edify people without them getting emotional, which is really hard to do because emotions create blockages when it comes to knowledge and learning. If you get offended or if you get upset or you get defensive, then the chances of you actually obtaining knowledge from the conversation is slim to none. And so my goal isn't to offend anybody, but I do want to tell the truth and I do want to share the knowledge, regardless of who it offends. I just hope that it doesn't offend you guys and you guys know that my intention isn't to offend anybody. But yes, the Bible is about the Anunnaki and it's about the descendancy from Inki. And, as you study up on this, you'll realize that Noah actually is not the son of the man named Lamech, but is the direct son of Enki himself. And his sons had three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, in the Bible. And Shem, Ham, and Japheth are the progenitors of all the nations of the world, supposedly, minus the sons of Cain and the offspring of the fallen angels, who are the Agigi, known as the Watchers, right? And so there's Shem's line, there's Japheth's line, there's Ham's line, there is the line of the Watchers, which is the Gigi, who kidnapped the 300 women and had children from them, and then there's the line of Cain, right, who was banished, and his children actually survived the flood, which is all backed by ancient literature, thousands and thousands of years old, older than the Bible even, but not older than the Hebrew literature itself, the original literature, right? Because that's all this is. So, well, yeah, it is actually. So you got to look at the way you have Sumerian tablets and you have the 4 regions, right? Each region is designated to a specific Anunnaki ruler. Those rulers then instilled kingship by man, one region at a time, right? It didn't all happen at once. It happened over a period of time, right? So one's established. The first city ever ruled by men, first kingdom, was known as the city of Kishi, right? Which I believe later became Kush, but the city of Kishi, right? That's where we get the word Kush. I know that. So, and then it went to Unagi, right? And this, and these regions were ruled by different people. So, like for instance, the third region was known as, what was it called again? I can't remember the original name, but it wound up being known as the Indus Valley region, right? Which is what we call today India, right? And India was ruled by Inanna. Inanna in Hindu mythology is Kali, the goddess Kali. Kali is the female aspect of Shiva. Shiva and Kali are like yin and yang, right? Male and female aspects, right? Shiva is often confused with Enlil, but I actually believe he is Inki, right? Does that make sense? Anyways, it's a history lesson, you guys. The reason this matters is because the true connection to the Creator, to the realm of the gods, and to the Most High Himself is through maintenance of the temple, the body, right? So eating properly, right? Which there's laws to follow for that, all in the book. There's 613 laws in the Bible. You want to maintain your temple, right? You can follow this Hinduism or the Bible or whatever. All this is listed for the most part. You want to maintain your temple, which is the body, right? Which houses the soul, the spirit, okay? You want to find a way to control your thoughts, because your thoughts control your emotions. Your emotions are nothing more than electrons in motion. They control the oscillation of size, the expansion and contraction of the atom. The atom, as it expands, creates light. As it constricts, right, it compresses that light outwards, right? That light being projected is our reality. That's the what people refer to as the aura. In ancient times, they would show a halo, right? This is the energy we emit, right? A low frequency is red, a high frequency is blue, ultraviolet is the frequency of God, right? This is science, not just, um, teachings of the Hebrews, or mysticism or whatever you want to call it, right? study quantum physics, right? And study up on Albert Einstein and Niels Bohr and their battle to figure out light, whether it's a particle or whether it's a wave, right? And how you um, change matter through observation and yada yada yada, right? Uh, uh, Light is both a particle and a wave, right? And it reacts to observation, right? And so you are the observer, but the observer is not your body, okay? The body houses the observer. The observer is you, the soul, the spirit, okay? You see what I'm saying? I hope this is something to connect it to. Soma Wine, right? It's called Soma Wine, not just Soma, right? Soma Wine because the base was alcohol, right? They would use an alcoholic base, right? And they would call it an admixture because they would add to it, right? Using things like acacia, wormwood, henbane. What else would they use? Mint and all kinds of things, barley. But the barley, though, was usually used to make alcohol in the form of beer, right? Which would also have ergot, which would lead to ergonavine poisoning, which is the same thing basically as a dirty LSD experience or a full spectrum LSD experience, right? Hear my chicken. And so, anyways, what's the original name of alcohol? It's known as a spirit. Why? Because a spirit is what's contained within something, right? So when you make alcohol, you're extracting the spirit from the barley or from the grapes or from what it is that you're fermenting or, you know what I mean, making your alcohol from, right? So you're extracting the spirit. Now you have, say, pure ether, right, is pure spirit, right? Pure alcohol, pure spirit. Now you take that alcohol, that ether, that spirit, and you mix it into something else. You add an admixture, right? Like, for instance, acacia, right? And what can you pull from that? What can you extract from that? Now you're using the spirit of alcohol to extract the spirit of whatever the add mixture is, okay? Thus you get the Soma wine, right? You just need to know the correct add mixtures, right? And this is the same thing as above, so below. Your body contains a spirit as well. So if you're an alcoholic, you drink a lot of alcohol, what are you doing? You're saturating your body with nothing but pure alcoholic spirit, which is not meant for that. It becomes toxic, right? It's meant to extract, right? So it's what's it doing, right? It's extracting your spirit, right? That's not a good thing, okay? So alcohol should be used in small doses and with an admixture because that's its purpose. You see what I mean? In the Bible, that's what they did, right? You can study up on it, right? Uh, you can also study up on all the churches that followed. For instance, the reason why the Roman Catholic Christian Church hated the Hebrew Israelites so much, right, was because they were the original keepers of this admixture-based wine, right? Or this wine-based admixture, I'm sorry. And they would practice this, right? And they referred to it as a cult. Now, if you study Gnosticism, you know the original Gnostics were actually Hebrew Israelites who refused to follow the church, that refused to conform. Now, these people were cast out. You see what I'm saying? They were cast out and considered Gnostics and pagans, all right? But these are also the people that are responsible for all the Hebrew literature. So now you can see where this comes from. So they had to practice underground. The church has a thing called communion, where you take wine, the blood of his body, the body of Christ, and bread, right? Leavened bread, right? The blood in the body of Christ, right? And that's part of communion. Well, originally it wasn't some grape juice and a cracker like we take nowadays. If you go to a fucking church, that's what they're going to give you. If you went back in the day, right, you would pay your tithes, which is really just a tax to Rome, right, through the church, and you would pay and then you would get your baptism, and then you could take your communion, right? And your communion, right, would have been actual manna, right, the bread or body of God, which is mushroom, and a ad-based or a wine-based admixture, okay? And that would have been the blood of Christ, right? So you have your blood and your body, right? The Soma wine and the manna, all right? And this is what the original Hebrew Israelites would take. But there was many lessons that came with that, and there was many steps, right, through this process, and you had to obtain. Hey, are you chasing a chicken? You better not chase him. Okay, don't do that again. And so then, and so then this, would lead to Solomon's Temple and a bunch of other things. And that's where Freemasonry comes from, right? Because you got to realize the story. The Hebrew Israelites were conquered by the Edomites. First the Egyptians, right? And then after the Exodus, they would be conquered by the Edomites, right? When they were conquered by the Edomites would take their knowledge, their names, everything would be taken from them. You see what I'm saying? And they would no longer know who they were. They'd be sold into slavery, right? For 400 years, they'd be oppressed and enslaved, bondsmen, bondwomen, right? And nobody really seems to know who those people are, but those prophecies only fit certain groups around the entire planet, right? And these are the people that were the victims of colonization. And that's a big deal because when you study up on those victims of colonization, they all match the ancient practices of the Hebrew Israelites, and they all spoke a dialect of Paleo Hebrew, and they were scattered to the 4 regions of the world, right? It's intense when you start actually studying it. And I want to get that information out there because I'm a Hebrew Israelite from the tribe of Judah, and my job is to help uh, uh, bring my people back to the original ways of our culture, which did include that. But I need to be able to prove it and show it, right? And I don't want to just yap and bump guns and get people to try to follow me and my words and my teachings. I want them to actually study the ancient ways and learn the truth the same way that I did. And it takes a long time. I've been doing it for 5 years intense. I don't work normal jobs. I'm not working a 9 to 5. It's the middle of the day. I'm sitting at home with my son, right? I work online, and so I get to study all the time. I have so many books, you guys. I can't even begin to how many books I have all over. I have this is one of my shelves. I've got 3 just in this room. I've got a fridge that I'm not using because we don't have anywhere to store anything. So I've got a refrigerator, a big, huge refrigerator I'm not using, packed full of books. I've got bags of books, boxes of books, books everywhere. Just go grab her collar and you can walk her away.
She's going to hurt me.
No, she's not gonna hurt you. You're her boss, remember?
Okay.
All right. And so, learning all this stuff has been the best thing I've ever fucking done. And trying to, sorry guys, I'm trying to get this even once again here. I moved it on accident. It's still not even, but whatever. But learning all this has been the greatest thing I've ever done, and it's the reason why I live in a tent right now in the middle of fucking nowhere, is because I have certain laws and commandments as a true Jew, a Hebrew Israelite from the tribe of Judah, which is a Jew.
I'm
By
not going to do that.
Okay, I'll get her in a little bit. Just leave her alone. And so I have Twan, quiet, please, or I'm gonna stop this, and then you're gonna go in timeout. You're interrupting. It's impossible trying to do this stuff living like I am right now, but it is what it is. You guys want that real and that raw. There's that real and that raw. So, as a Hebrew Israelite from the tribe of Judah, my job, my duty, my purpose is to follow these laws, statutes, and commandments. And part of that includes edifying my people, teaching my people. And to do that, um, to, you just gotta let him be a kid. Twan, quiet, please. When I get off this, we're gonna have a talk. You're being very rude. It's inappropriate. I want you to sit on the steps. When I get done, we're gonna have a talk. Let him be a kid, but he also needs to have discipline. So, anyways, the point is, I have to follow these law, statutes, and commandments, and not because it's some religion and I believe in some magical dude in the clouds or whatever, but because I've done DMT so much and I've met so many of them and I know how real they are from my own experiences. And then afterwards, I went and studied all the ancient literature and was able to confirm these experiences through the teachings of the ancients. Many, if not all of which, were ancient Hebrews, which is fucking crazy to me. And so I'm learning from my ancestors, something I never thought I'd do because I am descendant of a slave. I didn't know my ancestors. I didn't know who they were. And so everyone likes to think of black people in America as African Americans. There's no such thing as an African American. That's 2 different continents. It's not even a country, nor is it a nation. Those are 2 different continents. It's descriptions of locations. And so there's no such thing, right? There's no such thing as a Mexican. Mexicans That's a name given to them by the people that conquered them and took them over. That wasn't their original names, right? So this is things to think about, and it's uncomfortable for some people, especially people that are Caucasian. Unfortunately, my whole family is Caucasian, and they hate it when I talk about this stuff, but I do it anyways. My little brother listens to me, probably because he's my little brother, but uh, I tell him anyways because it's important. Because even Edomites are supposed to come back to these laws and commandments, and they're supposed to do that through the Israelites, right? The Israelites are those who are supposed to be teaching the world about these things. And how can we teach the world if we don't know it ourselves? So if there's anybody that watches this, if you're, you know, so-called black, Mexican, Puerto Rican, or Haitian or Jamaican or North American Indian or Central or South American Indian, Alaskan, whatever, Polynesian, there's a good chance that you are a Hebrew Israelite from one of the 12 tribes of Israel. And you should probably look into this stuff a little bit. And I had a conversation earlier with Deacon from Sakari, which was pretty cool. He's a nice guy, but I caught him right before he was getting on a flight, and I think I'm gonna send him a video later on. So maybe I'll do a video on here, or maybe I'll do it on my other channel, Roots of Blood, Leaves of Light, and I'm gonna send that to him and see if I can get a dialogue going with him, and not to debate with him. I agree with pretty much everything they say. I know who the 12 tribes are, and I'm with that 100%. And I'm all about coming back to these law, statutes, and commandments. I'm just still in the process of learning them and coming back myself. And so it's going to take me a little bit of time, but I'm working on it. Like, I don't wear fringes right now, but that's because I don't own any fringes, and I live in a tent, and I'm poor, and I don't have money to buy them yet. But I hopefully will soon, and so I'll be getting fringes, and then I will be wearing fringes. And I stopped eating pork. I don't practice any holidays anymore, birthdays or anything like that, right? I honor the Sabbath. I do a lot of these things, and I do that because um, these were the ways of my people, and these are the commandments given to us with the covenant. And the covenant is the immortality of the soul given to the Hebrew Israelites. And I, I, I would very much like to achieve that for me and my family. And after experiencing the DMT realm and being able to piece together what it actually is and what the field of reeds or heaven or whatever you want to call it, depending on your culture, actually is, and who the Elohim and the Anuna and the Anunnaki and uh, all these people are, and being able to look at Paleo Hebrew and the petroglyphs. So all this stuff, I, I've been learning it constantly. I'm so glad I did, because now I have an understanding I never had before, and it's changed my life. And I no longer chase money, and I know I still need money right now, but the reason I need money right now is because I'm working towards a goal. I put together a plan to actually stop needing money for the most part. So I will no longer be working for colonizers. And this isn't me hating on anybody. It's just doing what I'm supposed to do for my people and my salvation, which is to be not like the heathen. Well, the heathen is the Edomites, and the Edomites are those who colonize my people and enslave my people. And I'm not supposed to be like them in terms of behavior and lifestyle. And that means I gotta be very careful how I walk. But the big thing that rules over Edomites and their last kingdom, which is America, the United States of America, which is just an extension of the Vatican and Rome, is actually money. The money is currency created by the Rothschild family, who runs the world banking system. And Lord Rothschild is responsible for signing the Balfour Declaration. They claim to be Jews, right? And they say they're Ashkenazi Jews. And they did a deal with Great Britain, who owned the Great Britain East Indian Trading Company, which traded all the slaves, who were the real Jews, the Israelites, from the west coast of Africa to the Americas. And when I figured out that Lord Rothschild claimed to be a Jew, not just any, but an Ashkenazi Jew, and that he was responsible for the Balfour Declaration signed with um, British, the British, to get Israel, the land of Israel, Palestine, for the Jews, um, I was baffled. I was baffled. They funded the Civil War. For the South, mind you. They funded the transatlantic slave trade. They were behind the majority of the banking that went on, and it's, and they claim to be Ashkenazi Jews. But here's the thing, Ashkenazi descends from Ashkenaz. And if you know the Table of Nations, you know that Ashkenaz is the son of Gomer. Gomer is a descendant of Japheth. That's a Gentile nation, not an Israelite or a Hebrew nation. So they're neither Hebrew nor Israelite, which means they cannot be, they're neither Hebrew, Israelite, nor Judean, right? Because those are all in the same bloodline. They're not in that bloodline, right? They're in the bloodline of Japheth, which is it's the European Gentile bloodline, right? And so, anyways, the point I'm making is they're not real Jews. A real Jew is someone who descends from the patriarchal bloodline of the tribe of Judah, according to the Bible itself. That is how they would track their pedigree, okay? Not the real Jews. The real Jews, according to the scriptures and the prophecies within them, would be shipped off into slavery for 400 years into the land of their oppressors. Their oppressors were the Edomites. The Edomites exalted themselves as the eagle. The eagle, you can trace all the way back to Rome, right? Where the progenitors of Rome, Romulus and Remus, Romulus is where you get the name Rome, right? Come from a land after the Trojan Wars and stuff, or before the Trojan Wars, they come from the land of Idumea. Idumea, right, where King Herod lived, son of Antipater, right? These people can be traced all the way back up to the man named Esau. They're all called Edomites who lived in the land of Idumea, in the caves of the Caucasus Mountains, where Petra is found. Petra is, if you ever watched Indiana Jones, is the, where he's trying to get the Holy Grail, right? That's where they say the Holy Grail was in Petra. See what I'm saying? This was the home of the Edomites. And all of this is true history. It's not actually just some made-up shit that was stuck in a man-made book that they called the Bible. You got to trace it all backwards. Even the man who first translated the Bible from the Torah and the Apocrypha and all the books into Greek for the very first time was King James the First of England. He was a black man from the tribe of Judah. Nobody talks about that, but he was, right? And guess who tried to kill him multiple times while he was translating the fucking Torah? The Vatican. Roman Catholic Church literally sent assassins to try to kill him multiple times, and they failed before he eventually died in 1625, May 15th, 1625. And according to prophecies, now I may be wrong on this, but the 400 years, in my belief, actually began when he died. That's when I believe it began, and it ended, or it ends next year on May 15th. That's when I believe the Jews will truly be freed. And I could be wrong, I'm just saying that because that's what I believe based off my calculations. And I'm just a man. I may be wrong, but it's important to know what that means, right? We're supposed to go to war at that point. There's supposed to be a massive war amongst men and gods. The Gog and Magog prophecies are supposed to be happening around that same time. Well, if you know who Gog and Magog are, that's Russia and China. Well, if you're paying attention to world politics, you already know what that means, right? And the United States is Babylon, and they're supposed to lose that war, right? And a lot of people like to call themselves American, but the true Americans are actually Hebrew Israelites from the tribe of Gad, which are the North American Indians, right? Who most people think of as Taino Indians, the Iroquois, the Hopi, the Cherokee, the whatever. There's a bunch of them, right? These people, right, are the actual indigenous North Americans, and before it was called America, it was called Amaruca, right? And the rest of the Americans, the Mexicans and shit, they're tribe of Iscar and tribe of Naphtali and all these other people, tribe a bunch of them, right? And it's crazy to think that that history is so overlooked and just so abandoned and just denied, I guess you could say, even hidden, and because it's not taught in school, that's for sure. And then the schools, you find out, they're also funded by the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and the whole curriculum process. And so it's very disappointing, and it's also very frustrating, but it's also very liberating to know the truth. And it's very nice to have a purpose in my life, which is to follow the law, statutes, and commandments of my ancestors, given to them, passed down through Yahweh, right, the great God of Israel himself. And when you say God of Israel, what I really mean is Lord Enki, and son of Anu the Father. And I feel very blessed and honored to have that bloodline, that genealogy, that DNA, that pedigree. and to be able to pass that on to my son, which means that I need to do the right thing by my son, which is to teach him these laws, statutes, and commandments. And I wanted to make that announcement on here that I'm going to be making a shift towards that a little bit, but I'm still going to be talking about the psychedelics and everything, but more so from the perspective of understanding their true purpose, which is a sacrament, a connection to the Most High God, Yahweh, and the angels themselves, the other Anunnaki, and our ancestors. And in order to do that, I must first truly comprehend this literature. So I'm not sure how I'm gonna be going about that. Maybe I'll do some like studies on here. I'll bust out some books and do some shit. We'll smoke blunts and talk shit, and um, hopefully you guys fuck with me on this. I'm not looking to make no money. Obviously, I'm not doing no Patreon, or I can't monetize this channel, so it's not for money or nothing. This is just to get the word out there. If you know anyone that's black, Mexican, Indian, whatever, has any association with that, or is even white, and just wants to know these things and get in on this knowledge with us, feel free to point them this direction so that they can see what I'm talking about, and they can take that and chop it up for themselves. You know what I mean? And because this knowledge, um, this knowledge is crucial. It's so crucial, right? And yeah, yeah, I want to be good a good person, not a bad person. I want to do good things, not bad things. And so I want to try to right all my wrongs and shit. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, real and raw, straight up drift. And what's up, White Knight? How you doing, bro? Um, anyways, I hope that helps you guys. That's why I got Shiva tattooed right here, is because I believe Shiva to also be Lord Enki, Yahweh himself. And this is uh this is a very important piece to me. Not that I idolize it or anything. I got this before I even knew any of this. I just got it because this is one of the many deities, but the main deity that taught me so much knowledge in the DMT realm. And I've danced with Shiva many times. You can say Shiva, Kali. Uh, it just depends on the energies of masculine and feminine. Feminine energy is Kali, and masculine is Shiva. But when I encounter, um, original name's Rudra, right? Rudra. Uh, when I encounter, this is Mahasada Shiva, this form. When I encountered that, it blew my mind, and the things that he showed me was mind blowing, and it was very apparent that he wasn't the Most High God, but was the teacher of my people, and that the Most High God is who he served. Kind of like a good way I break down the analogy is like, think of um, you know think of God as this infinite source of light and energy, constantly pulsing, the thing that everything emanates out of, right? And around God, like a rainbow around God, like a full-blown rainbow, the full circle rainbow is all of the creation, just in layers, right, of color, right? Right, from the Anunnaki, who are the angels, right, to the uh, uh, matter itself, to the water and the ethers and the humans and the animals and all the different forms of creation, right? They all emanate outward from this light, like rainbows emanate, right? And or think of it like if you were God, right? And all your fingers are angels, right? The angels do God's bidding, right? They are like an extension of God itself, right? They are not God. They're just um, part of God, an extension of God, thus gods, right? And so the ancients refer to them as gods, not because they're the most high God, but because they are the gods of specific things, right? They do God's biddings, right? Water and creation and duality or maternity or whatever, right? All these different things, fertility, yada yada. Um, they do God's bidding, right? And so I hate using these words because they sound very religious, but it's not religion. It's not that at all. It's just raw history, right? Um, think of God as the Big Bang itself. Not from the Big Bang came of all of the fucking matter and everything else, right? That's the same concept, right? The Hindus teach this, the Hebrews teach this, the Mayans teach this, the Hopi teaches. Everybody teaches the same story. The Hawaiians teach this. You just have to understand what they're saying, and you got to take time to study their languages and their oral traditions and stuff, their art, their dances, their chants, all the knowledge is hidden in these things, right? They say if you want to hide something from a nigga, just put it in a book, right? So they would do that. They put this stuff in books, and niggas was slaves. We wasn't allowed to read. We weren't allowed to read these books, right? Do you know about Solomon's wisdom and gin metal vessels? Yeah, I do actually a little bit. All of it goes back to the same thing. The gin metal vessels are the vessels of Soma, right? Think like the Eucharist vessels or the Kukion vessels or even the Holy Grail, right? Same scenario. These vessels, right, are what these deities would drink these elixirs from. And then when the deities, you'd look at the Sumerians Kings list, when they oh, what's up, Mama Kitty? When they would pass down kingship to men, right? And the first ruler over Kishi, Atani, would rule, and then on down, right? You would have this knowledge passed down into men through kings and priests who were of the highest order, right? And one would rule the people, and one would be the teacher of the people about God, right? He would kind of rule the king, if that makes sense. The priest would rule the king would rule the people. But at the beginning, the king and the priest were kind of like side by side, like you needed both the king and the priest. They ruled together, right? And these teachings of these vessels came with it. They would use these vessels to get their enlightenment and then pass down this knowledge that they would read from the tablets or the Me's of Destiny, right? And these tablets were very important. And so that's why they're mentioned in everything from the Bible to the Mahabharata and all these things. And the jinn, right? This is correct me if I'm wrong, but it's Aramaic background. Most of the stories of the jinn are written in Aramaic, and the jinn are where we get the stories of the genies, right? That's where the term genie comes from. Let me clear this out real quick, right? And even that, where did the genie emit from? The genie would come from the lamp. And what was the lamp? Actually, it was a vessel used to pour the elixirs, right? And so it's very metaphoric and symbolic, but it's very true as well, if that makes sense. Oh, I need to plug in my phone. I just realized it's gonna die soon. This is nice. Hold on, let me flip this switch real quick, guys. There we go. I'm running off solar power, so I don't use it unless I really need it right now. I'm gonna load this roach in my cowboy piece here. And so, yeah, I know a little bit about them. Not a lot, but a little bit, right? Enough to know that they're used in many different things, right? They're often considered demonic, right? By many people, generally considered demons, right? In the Gnostic texts, like the Pistis Sophia and things of that, they would be akin to the archons, right? And they're almost like an energy, right? Or like a spirit. Does that make sense? Did I miss a comment? Right. Oh, and Solomon. So, anyways, Solomon, as most of you guys know, Solomon was very wise, and Solomon's temple came from Solomon's teachings, right? And okay, sweet. Glad that makes sense. Well, Solomon's temple was famous for the two pillars, right? Which I'll get into in another story, but the main thing was its architecture was just magnificent. It was beyond anyone's belief, right? And so this architecture is what would later lead to Freemasonry, right? And this is a long story as well, but through the Knights of the Round Table, which everyone thinks is mythology and all that stuff, which it isn't actually, which I have proof of through ancient books. Lead to Knights Templar and all that, right? And eventually on down to Illuminati, Freemasonry, the Boule, which is the Black Freemasons, and on and on and on. Which we can get into that sometime too. I'll break you guys down on Freemasonry and Boule and stuff, and how that entire rap game is ran by this shit, and movies and everything's all ran by this shit. And I'll show you the proof of this stuff too. Well, as good as I can. I don't have a working computer right now, so the only thing I can do is live streams. But you get the idea, and from my phone. But you get the idea. If anyone wants to donate to help me get a new computer, feel free. But I'm not asking or begging or anything. I'm just saying, doors open. Because if I did get a new computer, that's what I'd use it for, is just to show you guys all that stuff. But the point is, I can't really do it now, so you kind of just got to take my word for it and then go look it up yourself, and maybe I can leave links or something to things if you ask for them. And I'll do my best to get it, to relay the information. You know what happened to me? You know how, like, when, like, somebody will jump in a swimming pool, bump their fucking head, right? And next thing you know, they're a savant, and they can see music and geometry and play a piano like Beethoven and or whatever, and they can, you know, speak 10 different languages or whatever. All of a sudden, it's the same sort of thing that happened to me, but from DMT. Right? I smoked a fucking bunch of DMT, and it was like it just blew open parts of my brain that I've never used before. Now I don't know if it's all functioning, but I know a lot more of it's functioning than before, right? And I can even explain why, right? How the DMT and the electromagnetic energy and the synapses and you know, and I can show you how that correlates with Hinduism and the nadis and the chakras and yada yada, all the shit. It's crazy when you really think about it. It's crazy. If you guys want to go into detail sometime, but point is, it's all very real, you know, the third eye, yada yada, all this stuff is all very real, and there's a science behind it all, and it can be broken down if people are willing to go in and learn this stuff. You know, they teach us, you go to school, you can only pick one, maybe two things for a career, right? Why not all of them? Why can't you be an artist, a mechanic, a fucking teacher, a fucking pediatrician, a whatever, you know what I mean? Why can't you do it all, right? Well, they break it down to where it takes X amount of time, so you don't have the time to do it all. So if you can skip the college and find a way to learn all of the exact same shit, but in a quicker way, a more efficient way, something that allows you to more efficiently obtain and retain this knowledge, well, then why not do that, right? Because the certificates don't mean shit other than now you can get paid for it, right? But if you know this knowledge, you know the goal isn't money anyways. The goal is to abstain from money, right? To stay away from the need for money, right? The love of money is the root of all evil. Not money itself, but the love of it, right? Money is just paper, right? So you don't need to hate paper, right? But you should hate the love of paper, of money, right? And so it's not to get money. You just need the knowledge. The knowledge is what sets you free, not the money that you make from the knowledge. Does that make sense? Right? The only reason why you're chasing all this money is to have freedom, right? That freedom would be family time, roof over your head, mobility, food in the fucking table, water in the fucking whatever, right? You know what I mean? These are all health. You know what I'm saying? These are all the things that we're working for anyways. And the only way we're allowed to get that is if we obtain enough money to purchase those things so that we can purchase, also have the time, right? And all this shit so that we can make it work. And they say that takes forever, right? It doesn't even happen anymore. Show me a nigga that's actually fucking retired in the last however long. You don't see them. You won't find them, right? It don't happen, okay? The reason for that is because it's set up that way. It's the whole format's process. The elite don't want you to be elite too. That's fucking ridiculous. So they need you to stay where you're at. You can work within the fucking range they give you. You see what I'm saying? And they dictate that by controlling the amount of effort you're allowed to put forth into each thing. You see what I'm saying? And so the internet helps break that up because you got a library on your phone if you want to use it for that, or you can look at fucking bitches. It's whatever. But if you look at knowledge, right, you can obtain it. I got more PDF files on this than I do pictures of booty. I can tell you that. You see what I'm saying? I've got more fucking books on this shit than I do on my own. Actually packing a bunch of money around. Not going to happen, right? It's knowledge or money, what you want, right? So if you get the knowledge, you find out ways that you can get around the money. If you don't get the fucking knowledge, then you got to get the money. That's all you got, right? Well, now you know the game. You've been in it for a while. Are you rich? You balling? How far you gotten in the amount of time you spend doing this, right? And then how much more time you got. Some of you might be good, right? There's reasons for that too. Check your nationality, curses, blessings, yada yada. According to the Bible, you're gonna see some shit, right? But know that an enlightened man is not seeking money. Just know that's the thing, okay? I don't know why I was going in all that. I forget. Anyway, Solomon's Temple is really deep. You know, we could do a whole series just on Solomon's Temple and the knowledge surrounding it, the purpose of it, what came out of that, the names of the pillars, and all kinds of stuff, right? There's a lot to it. But most importantly, just know that it's about the knowledge. It's all about the knowledge. That's what Solomon's Temple is all about, is the protecting of the knowledge. Nowhere you're going to find this knowledge just out for free, unless it's somebody like me, some fucking random nigga on YouTube that's just like, yo, look at the shit I found, right? And they're like, right? And they just tell you. But you're not going to go to Masonic Temple and be like, oh, let me teach you some 33rd degree shit. That's not going to happen, right? You're not going to find somebody that's in Illuminati that's going to take you to a meeting and reveal the secrets that they've fucking protected for 1,000 years, right? It's not going to happen. You see what I'm saying? But if you're smart enough to go through the artifacts and the language and the resources that are available, you can kind of deduce that knowledge for yourself, especially if you consume the sacrament. But don't think that the sacrament alone is going to be able to bring it to you, because it can, but it may not. What the sacrament does is open up the ability. It kicks the door open so that you can now obtain and retain that knowledge. But you first need to go get the knowledge, right? And you have to know where to find legitimate sources, right? And the older the source, the better, right? And so the oldest sources you'll find will be Naga sources, which led to Hebrew sources, which led to Israelite sources. And then after that, shit gets wishy-washy, right? And that's because that's when the Israelites got conquered by the Edomites and they started changing everything. That's when we get the Renaissance era, right? So when they changed all the images of Christ and the Jews and everybody, and it changed everything, right? Everything got changed, right? This is why St. Patrick was sent to Ireland to kill the snakes, right? He went to kill the Nagas. Who were the Nagas? They were Hebrew Israelites. You see what I'm saying? And so this is important to know, right? He wasn't sent by the Hebrews. He was sent by the Roman Catholic Church, right? Who was ran by Edomites, those who exalt themselves as the eagle. Look at the symbology of the eagle, the Byzantine eagle, the Vatican eagle, the American eagle, the Edomite eagle, right? All these things, right? These just go down the line. You'll see, right? Why is there an eagle on the Mexican flag? Why is there eagles above your flag, on your flagpole? Go look at all that shit. You'll never find the eagle below the flag. It's always exalted above the flag, right? Why the stars, right? Why on your money do you see, pull out a dollar bill and look at it. Why do you see the eagle, right? Landing on the moon with stars around it. You see what I'm saying? There's a reason for this stuff, all right? Though thou will exalt themselves as the eagle and set their nest amongst the stars, right? I shall bring them down, right? This is Obadiah, right? This is, you got to study this shit up, right? And you'll see what I'm talking about. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. And the craziest part is it's fucking true. It's all fucking true. So anyways, I'm gonna get off here because I'll yap about this all fucking day. And I hope that you guys will look into this, and if I'm wrong on something, feel free to call me out and check me, because I'm not trying to mislead anybody. I'm still obtaining understanding as I go as well, and I'm 5 years into this and maybe more now, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy. I find new stuff every day. You know what I mean? Let me check these comments. All right, that ain't nothing. All right, so anyways, yeah, man, I wish y'all the best. Send people that you think may be Hebrew Israelites over here so I can chop it up with them. Share the information I have. Maybe they can take it and build on it, learn something I don't know. We're as a people, we're still trying to uncover our history after colonization. We're trying to figure out who we are, where we come from, and I really, you're welcome, Dylan. You're welcome, man. Dang, I'm late to the live. What's up, Josh? What's up, Calvo? No, I'm just finishing actually, man. But you can go back and watch it, and it's just me going over some cool stuff, cool history. It's very significant, very important. And anyways, I just want you guys to know I have good intentions, but my main goal is to awaken my people, because that's what I'm supposed to be doing right now. We don't have long. I do believe we're in the end times, and by end times, I don't mean the world is going to explode. I mean, there's going to be war. It's going to be nuclear war, and a lot of people are going to die. And I hope to survive with my family, and I hope to obtain the immortality of the soul through following these teachings of my ancestors, and knowing that those ancestors got these teachings passed down from the Anunnaki. It's fucking mind-blowing to me, and it's really significant history, and it changed my perspective on life. And I just want you guys to know that that's why I've been missing. I'm living literally in a tent in the middle of a lava field out in Hawaii, trying to stay away from civilization, away from people, away from, it's not that I hate white people or anything like that, but I'm staying away from as many white people as I can to avoid the influence that was brought on by colonization, so that I can have a clear head and get back to the ways of my ancestors. And that's a hard thing to do, and remember, I come from a family, I was raised by my white side, right? So everybody that raised me is white. My little brother's white, my family's white, everybody's white. They're all white. But white is just a term given to a specific nationality of people, right? And that nationality of people, they're called Edomites, right? Study them, go back, Romans, Greeks, and yada yada yada. These are people that came and took over those lands, right? And the people that conquered those lands were white people called Edomites, but they weren't called white back then. They called themselves red or ruddy, right? Like red or ruddy, you know what I mean? Not white. White is like the chair I'm sitting in. You know, it's not. There's nobody in the world's that color, and so it's very important to know these things. You know, we get brainwashed through this shit, right? Think of the Pledge of Allegiance, right? When you're a kid, if you're my age at least, you know, when you was a kid, you would go to school. First thing you do is pledge an allegiance, right? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, yada 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 yada, right? You put your hand over your heart, right? One nation under God, right? This is no separation of church and state. This is in a school, right? This is back then. They still have God on your shit. You still swear on the Bible when you go to a courtroom. All these things. There's no separation, right? They're one and the same. Point is, before you would put your hand over your chest, I bet y'all didn't know that you would put your hand out like this and you would do a Hitler fucking thing, right? This is a bullshit. You do some Hitler shit, right? A salute, a Nazi salute. That's fucked, right? That's fucked up, right? And that's what they would do. And you know why they used to do that when they would salute that flag? Because that flag originally was funded and fucking designed by the wives of the KKK. Okay, I didn't know that. Right? I didn't know that. I'm a little kid. As a black kid, bro. I'm in there fucking. Ooh, I didn't fucking know. You know what I'm saying? And I get spanked if I didn't do it, bro. They spanked my ass in school. Because you gotta remember, I was born in '84, right? In a small town that was like fucking 10 years behind everywhere else. So I might as well have been born in '74, right? I was born way back in the day. So it's crazy when you think about these things that we just kind of overlook in life, you know. And we all want to be friends with everybody and want to love this and love that, and let's all love our neighbors. But isn't love understanding? You know what I'm saying? How can I love you if I don't understand you? If I don't know you, how can I love you? You see what I'm saying? Now I can be gracious to you. I can be kind to you. I can be giving and thoughtful and whatever, nourishing you. I can feed you, but that doesn't mean I love you, right? Love is something else and different. This is something else entirely. It's different. You know what I'm saying? Love is way deeper than that. And to my people, love was keeping the commandments of God. Why? Because all things that were given to us come through those commandments. It comes through honoring that. It's part of the covenant. They're not given to us for fucking free. We have to earn this. This whole life is a trial. It's a trial run. Can you make it? Even the Hindus will tell you, oh no, this is just trial. Reincarnation, reincarnation, reincarnation. The Bible's reincarnation too. Just read it, right? Reincarnation. Until what? Until you escape the Maya. What's the Maya? The Maya is the illusion in Hinduism. It's the illusion, right? The Maya is the illusion. When you peel back the veil and you see the truth, right? Only then can you realize Brahman, okay? Only then. The word Brahman comes from Abraham. Abraham is the father of the fucking Hebrews, right? From Eber, the son of Abraham, comes the word Hebrew itself. You see what I'm saying? Abraham, before his name was Abraham, was Abram. Abram. Abraham became his name after he inherited the land of the Hamites and the Canaanites, which is all of Africa, right? Because it wasn't called Africa. It's named Africa by those who colonized it. Before that, it was called the land of Ham. You see what I'm saying? So this is all shit. I'm just popping this off the top of my head, right? Now I pull out these books and we can really get busy. You see what I'm saying? And I really want to fucking do this, not to grumble with people and rah back and forth, but because I want to light a fire on the niggas' asses to wake the fuck up. We're not blacks. We're not fucking niggas, bro. We're niggers. But that was never a bad word. Nigger is the fucking, it means highest. There was a priest in Antioch whose name was Nigger. It's in the Bible itself. It's the highest order of Hebrew priest, period. Never was that a bad thing. That was an honor. If you achieved that title, you were the fucking man, bro. You were the closest thing to God. You understand? This is a big deal, right? Because they turned that against us. Turned that against us. And that fucked me up as a kid. I can't tell you how many fights. My hand is broken. I have a screw in my hand. You see that big ass scar? That's from fighting a racist dude that kept calling me a nigger, bro. And I bust his shit open. Stop! So many times in his head that I broke my hand on his head, bro. I was so angry I couldn't even express the anger in any way other than just destroying this dude's shit and destroying my hand in the process. I had surgeries over this shit. It's fucking stupid. Why? Because he called me a nigger. And I didn't even know what the word meant. Neither did he. That's because we were both brainwashed. Both of us were brainwashed. You see what I'm saying? So it's time to wake up. It's time that we wake the fuck up, right? And I hope that you guys will help share this shit out. You know, get it out. Nobody shares videos anymore. I know, I get it. Nobody even likes the shit anytime. But if you guys find it in your heart to fucking help me, I don't want money, okay? If you donate money, fucking great. I don't have anywhere for you to donate it to. I can set something up if you request it. But I'm not doing that. It's not what I'm doing this for. I don't preach to seek money. I preach because I've been called to do so, and I'm trying to make sure I do it correctly. And so, if you want to help me out, you know what I mean. Like, tell people, I guess, tell people these what I'm telling you, and they can check this video if they want, and they can write me on Instagram or wherever, and I'll try to respond to everybody I can, and you know what I mean. I'm just trying what I can with what I got, and I want to do the right thing, and I hope you guys can understand what I'm saying. Psychedelics are no fucking joke. It's not a party drug. It's not something for playing around. It's not gonna fuck you up. What it's gonna do is it's gonna blow open your fucking thought process. Your brain is going to fire up. Literally, it's like taking some jumper cables and just zapping your fucking brain, and now you have electromagnetic energy pulsing through new synapses and new neural pathways that you never even knew could happen, which changes your reality. Your perception of reality changes. That's a big deal. For some people, they take it rough. Okay, they take it really rough, and those are the people that you read about that have a hard fucking time, and I feel bad for them, but I also don't, because they shouldn't have done that, right? The problem is they didn't know any better. They didn't know any better. It's been kept a secret. It's been hidden knowledge, and it's for a reason. It's because these people didn't want my people, the Hebrew Israelites, to know who we were, right? And as we awaken and we come back to this knowledge, this truth, it's fucking changing the game, and it's fulfilling prophecies from the Bible, which is weird to watch in real time, because I am not a Christian or religious or anything. I believe in knowledge, man, and if I can piece it together through actual evidence, physical evidence, and etymological evidence and shit like that, then that's a different story, and that's what I've been doing, and it's changed me as a person. It's changed me completely, and I get emotional over this shit. I'm not gonna cry on right now, but I'm just saying I get emotional because, um, I spent 30 some years of my life with no purpose, no understanding, no knowledge, and I went to church as a kid. Not in one fucking church did they teach me any of this shit. They didn't teach none of it, bro. I didn't know. Go to a church and ask them who are the Hebrew Israelites. They'll tell you it's a spiritual thing, but yet when you open the Bible, they say it's in the flesh. It's tracked by pedigree, right? They even give commandments on it, right? And so, one second. And so this is why I'm telling you, I'm challenging you guys to just do the right thing. Obtain knowledge. Seek the truth seek knowledge of truth over money. I dare you. I'm out, Shalom.